It's time for
DodgerHeads. What's up, everybody? Welcome into DodgerHeads Live, presented by DodgerBlue.com, part of the Medium Large Sports Network. My name is Jeff Spiegel, joined tonight by Anthony Witrado, here to talk about the Major League Baseball playoffs. They are here on Tuesday. The Dodgers, unfortunately, playing in the wild card round, but lots to discuss. Anthony, happy Sunday evening to you. Happy playoff eve to you.
Yeah, we are finally here. For the Dodgers, for this fan base, for that organization, this is when the season starts.
Yeah. And it 3 games. That's what is in front of them and what's on the table, all happening at Dodger Stadium. So it's perfectly put by you. Everything the Dodgers have been planning for, trading guys for, signing guys for, everything is for what's in front of us, not what's behind us. They made it this far. And so lots to get into. We're going to talk preview of the series against the Reds. Now officially only today did we find out who they would be playing, the Yankees. An unbelievable collapse. They were 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position at one point. I don't know if that got worse from there in a winner take all. The Reds lose, but they backed themselves in to the postseason. We're going to talk roster notes. We've got updates on some key guys, Clayton Kershaw, Blake Snell, Will Smith among them. You and I are going to give some roster predictions for the wild card series, and then a little bit of putting a bow on the regular season behind us. But let's just talk, before we get into any of that, Anthony, let's just talk about where the Dodgers are at now. Because if you haven't been paying super close attention, you might be surprised to hear that other than the New York Yankees, the Dodgers are the hottest team in baseball right now. They've won 9 of their last 11, 8-2 in their last 10. Only the Yankees have more wins over that stretch. Yankees are 10-1 in their last 11, 9-1 in their last 10. And the Dodgers have done it, Anthony, against teams that kind of needed those games. The Giants were super hot coming into that stretch. The Dodgers put them out of their misery. One of those games was against the Phillies, who we know are very good. The Diamondbacks were making a run. The Dodgers put them out of their misery. And then you had Seattle, who's, the number 1 seed in one of the best teams in the American League, has home field bye. So the Dodgers are not doing this against bad teams, Anthony. The question is, does any of it mean anything?
Right. No. And that includes the 2 losses to the Phillies, where I think that the Dodgers did a pretty solid job for, I would say, 95% of that series of showing like they might be the better team. And that other, 2% or 5% or whatever it was all bullpen stuff. So I think that it matters for them more than like who they played. I think them coming in playing good ball matters most, because I think for what they're doing this for and for how they went about their business, it really didn't matter who they played. I think as long as they were going to come in this way, we were going to feel good about it, and I think they're going to feel good about it in that clubhouse. So it helps, right, that they were playing teams that were kind of going all in. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is just, what, they're going to be able to look up and down that roster right now and go, we're ready.
Yeah,
we are ready.
Well, and you kind of hinted at it. There has to be a mental piece of this, having seen yourself do it over the last 2 weeks. Like, that has to play a part. I'm not saying that's 100% of the equation, and had they come in 5-5, like, they'd be screwed in the wild card, but now things are different. But I just have to feel like there's a 5 to 10% boost that they're going to experience, because just the mentality of like, no, we're actually firing on all cylinders right now. There's a confidence level, right? We saw the inverse of this with the bullpen, where it felt like the negative mentality had seeped in. I imagine the positive mentality, the confidence of, yes, we won the World Series last year, but yes, we're playing our best baseball right now. Like, it's hard for me to believe that's not going to impact this series or this run at some level.
Yeah. I think it is important because of how up and down they were before that. right? Like they had all the conversations about flipping the switch and are they going to be able to do it? And, they're just generally playing bad baseball. And a lot of that was on the one aspect of the club, the bullpen, but still like they were losing games. And so, yeah, I think it is meaningful in that they can come into this thing and go, yeah, this is the team that we thought we could be.
Yeah.
And it's clicking right now as we walk into October, and that's important.
Yeah. Maybe they flipped the switch. Maybe they were telling us the truth all year, Anthony. They said, don't worry, we can turn this thing on when we need to. And maybe the red button, the red light is on. Things are powered up and ready to go.
Yeah. Look, and I think for a veteran team, like they just need to see it for a little bit. You know what I mean? Like it just
Totally.
a 2-week span, a week and a half span. That's kind of all it takes for them to go, yep, we got it. We're in now.
Yeah.
And it's time to strap ourselves in and go. I think that they're feeling good about all parts of the club right now, including the bullpen. I think internally we might not be feeling great about it, so much, but I think internally they're probably feeling pretty good about what they got going in.
Yeah. Aaron, Super Chat says the boys picked a damn good time to play their best ball. Bullpen has looked fantastic since Thursday. If the pen found it, the league is in trouble. That last sentence is unequivocally true. If the Dodgers bullpen becomes like even just good, we don't even need great. We just need good. Then I do think the rest of the National League is not going to be thrilled to find that. Are you buying any of this, or is this yet another sort of peak that is potentially going to be immediately followed by a valley?
I am going to, for the next month, always be nervous about the bullpen.
Yeah.
That's just what they've conditioned us to do now. It's been too long. And so, they might be good going up until that final out of a World Series run again. And I'll still be, biting my nails, wondering if this is the time it collapses.
Totally. And we're going to talk postseason roster stuff in a little bit. We'll go over some of those names and see how people feel. But there's at least a couple guys. Like I think Trinan, there's a couple outings in a row where you're like, all right, I don't need a ton to believe that Trinan has found something. So when a guy like that seems to be clicking, that's encouraging. But the rest of the guys, I'm with you. D Nation Life says there's a lot of talk about how the Cincinnati arms are comparable to the Dodgers. That's crazy, right? I was reading the Athletics preview of this, and I thought they did a good job of identifying, like, hey, Cincinnati's pitching is really good, ... But it's not the Dodgers pitching, like, it's like, hey, like an ERA as a group of like 3.0 is really, really good. The Dodgers are like 2.4. So it's you can say both of those things at the same time. The Reds have very good pitching. The Dodgers dramatically better.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. This is why I think they were very cautious with some of these arms in the regular season, and we didn't see certain guys until probably like I would guess that some of those guys could have made starts. Glasnow and Snell could have made starts, probably even Ohtani earlier than they did, after they were coming back from their injuries. But this is why they didn't, is so that these guys would be in good shape going into the playoffs. And this is why I think they still have as good a chance as any team in the tournament. It's because the starters.
Yeah, I'm with you completely. NG with the huge super chat. We appreciate that. Kershaw, the last of the Mohicans. What a day from him today. 5 1/3, 4 hits, no runs, a walk, and 7 strikeouts brings his season ERA down to 3.36. The last game he will start in the regular season for the entirety of his career, obviously. Potentially the last game he ever starts. We don't know. The expectation, as we're going to talk about, is he's not going to be on the wild card roster. He will be on the NLDS roster. It sounds like if they make it there, whether his role is starter or reliever to be determined. But all that said, today was fantastic. He finishes the 5th inning with a strikeout on the curve. I was prepared for that to be it. I was like, just let him go out now. The curveball, 5 clean. But kudos to the Dodgers and Dave Roberts, because they said, go back out there, get us one more out, which could have gone poorly. It did not. Gets a strikeout with the slider. And then they get the moment where Freddie Freeman gets him out of the game. Everybody gives him a hug. He gets an ovation and announcement from Seattle. So unbelievable stuff from Kershaw, obviously all season. But today, yet again, like I was not expecting to be crying again on a Sunday, but here we are. We cried in his last home start. We cried in his last road start. And hopefully it's not the last we ever see of him.
Yeah, I really hope so. I hope that he gets an October moment again. I think he will. But 3-game series, so we'll see.
Anything can happen. Absolutely. 300 says playoffs are always high anxiety. We should handle the Reds, but the Phillies will be a battle. Let's freaking go. Yeah, it's perfectly said. 3-game series, you're going to hear us say it 25,000 times tonight, is just terrifying in and of itself. Has little to do with the Reds and everything to do with just the logistics of it. Destination all with an interesting question here. Dalton 6 for 17 and a home run. Should he start again? I'm just going to hand this one over to you, Anthony, because anytime I talk about the Dodgers catching situation, people get mad at me. So I'll let you have take the first bite of this one.
I don't think they change anything that they've been doing during this run. So if it's Rortvet getting the majority of the starts and Dalton getting some, I'm fine with that. If he can settle into a role of like what he's been, and he's finally getting comfortable there, then that's a huge plus, and it's a huge weapon potentially off the bench for them. So I'm fine doing what they've been doing. I don't think they need to make any drastic kind of lineup decision just because Dalton's been good for a couple of weeks or whatever. So I think more of it is like, can he keep this up whether he's starting or not? Because I don't think either one of those guys is like the kind of guy that you can say he's got to start every single day.
Yeah, both of them, like as we've been saying kind of all along, both of them have pretty notable flaws in their games, right? The ironic part is they're the opposite. Rortvet is a 0 offensively. And I know he had a nice little stretch there at the beginning. And I got a ton of flack for saying like, hey, this is all smoke and mirrors and none of it's going to last. And now he's 3 for his last 24, I believe it is, with the 1 home run and a couple singles. So, but he's been good defensively, like much better than Dalton Rushing, who can't keep the ball in front of him. And then you have Dalton Rushing, who has projected ability to hit the ball. As the super chat says, like we're in like a 4-game stretch where he's actually hit the ball. And yet he's a liability defensively. And the playoffs are not the time that I want to necessarily figure out if that has changed or gotten any better. So I'm with you. I would be shocked if Rushing starts a game at catcher at any point this postseason, because I think it's going to be Will Smith if and when he is healthy, and it's going to be Rortvet in the meantime. But I was going at it a little bit with our guy Scotty G on social media, because I'm like, now all the Rortvet people want to tell me that it was just a joke that they were buying into his offense and that it was all about the defense. I'm like, look, I saw the replies. That's all I'm going to say. I saw the replies in my mentions. So I hope he figures it out.
I do think that if Will Smith does come back and he's able to play, I think Rortvet is probably the guy who's out.
Okay, so you're saying if Smith is going to be starting in every day, then Rortvet is out, which that's literally what I've been saying the entire time, and I got crushed for that take.
I think regardless of what of who's healthy or not, Rushing is always the backup in this situation that the Dodgers are dealing with. That's what I think, because I think if Will Smith is going to actually play, Rortvet's value is significantly diminished because he's just not going to play, and you can't use him as a bat off the bench like you can with Rushing.
Yeah. No notes on anything you just said. Totally agree. Jedi Engineer, I was tempted to shout into the press box, DodgerHeads rules at the game today. Great season, guys. Let's gear up for Tuesday. Shows after every game from here on out. Unfortunately, I was not at any of these games. You all bullied me into buying tickets for Friday night's game on last Friday's live stream, which was a good decision. I felt good about it for 3 days until it was announced that Clayton Kershaw would not be pitching on Friday. One side note, and I know this is like a joke and they make a joke of themselves. I bought the tickets from Tick Pick, which if you watch MLB TV, you've seen 8,000 ads from them.
Yes.
Well, great deal. No fees, like anything. It's great. Well, the problem was I bought the tickets and then I went to resell them on like Monday or Tuesday, and I didn't have seat numbers or barcodes. And I was like, well, wait a minute. And they're like, oh no, you get those 24 hours before the game starts. You'll get the seat numbers and barcodes. And I was like, well, so I can't sell these tickets? Like I'm just stuck with them until 24 hours before. And they're basically like, yes. And I'm like, well, why didn't they have to give you barcodes in order to sell them? Anyways, it turned into a mess. Thankfully, I got out of it with a small loss. Couldn't make it up there today. But yeah, it was a bummer. And shout out to Tick Pick for being brutal to deal with. But to answer the bottom question here, yes, shows after every game from here on out. Tuesday night, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. If there is a game Thursday, 6:08, I believe, is the time frame on all of those. And so we will be going live post game after every single Dodgers playoff game from here on out. So hop in, join us. It's going to be fun. Hopefully you hear our voices from now until the middle of November, basically, as we celebrate another World Series. That's the goal. But I mean, give me, before we dive in, because we're going to get into the Reds here in a minute. Like, are you as confident now as you've been at any point this season in the group that's in front of us? Or do you feel like now that the postseason's here, you're feeling nerves?
I'm always going to feel nerves because I know like they can do this.
Yeah.
Right. Like if they were underdogs, probably wouldn't feel this. But I think like they're a favorite and we all expect them to be able to make this run. So I'll be nervous in that way. But to answer your question, this is as good as I felt all season long about where this team is.
Yeah.
The first week or so of April, like that was easy to feel good about them, but it's the first week of April. Like, way too many things can happen. And so I think basically since then, outside of that little run there, when was it, like June, July, when they faced like that gauntlet of like teams over 500 and they came out of that like really well.
Yeah.
Outside of that, this is as good as I felt about where this team's at all season.
Think about it this way. If I had told you before the year, we were joking about, are the Dodgers going to win 110 games? If I had followed up that conversation and said, Anthony, here's what I'll give you. I'll give you the season. They only win 93 games this year, which is like a massive disappointment. But you're going to get to the postseason with the entire starting pitching staff healthy. Mookie, Freddie, and Ohtani are all going to be healthy. We would have taken that like 10 out of 10. How quickly do I sign before you realize what you're offering me, right? Like, I think all of us operated under the assumption, hopefully we can get 2 of the 4 starting pitchers across the line, and hopefully we can get 2 of the 3 studs on the offensive side across the line. We would have hoped for more on the bullpen side of things. But like the fact that we are going to get 4 studs pitching-wise, and that's not even counting Kershaw and Emmett, who have been fantastic, and the top 3 guys are all healthy, albeit Will Smith is banged up, Muncy's coming back. But like, all things considered, our 3 studs on offense and our 4 horses in the starting rotation are all healthy. To me, that will make me feel way more confident than if they had won 115 games, but those 2 things weren't true.
Yeah, no, I like this a lot better. I think that we've seen how those regular season wins like really matter in October, right? Which is to say that they don't. And so I think for this team in particular, which everything they did in the last 2 winters, everything they did during the regular season and how they managed the roster was all so that they can be on this Sunday night healthy as possible. And they are. And I think if you're going to say we have a real question mark about one of these groups, the starting pitching, the lineup, or the bullpen, you take the bullpen in that every single time. And it makes for really nerve-wracking games and some disappointing finishes and things like that, like we've all seen. But the other 2 matter so much more, and can carry you so much more in a run like this. It's an easy call to say, like, all right, you know what? If I'm gonna have to question anything, it's going to be that group.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's a great point. And by the way, 93 wins. Chad Moriyama had a great tweet that like the Dodgers sweeping the Mariners, it like canceled all these people that were going to say like this is the worst season since Guggenheim took over, because 2018 they won 92 games. Do you know how 2018 they played in the World Series that year?
The World Series,
obviously they didn't win it. So hopefully 1 game better and a World Series outcome that's a little bit different. So let's get into the Reds and the Dodgers, a wild card preview here. Again, games start Tuesday at 6:08 p.m., 6:08 on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday if necessary. All 3 games, as a reminder, will be at Dodger Stadium. So huge advantage for the Dodgers there. Dodgers and Reds, if you didn't know, played 6 times, all 6 games in the second half of the season, July and August. The Dodgers won 5 out of 6, including sweeping the second of those 2 series. The Dodgers posted a 778 OPS with 7 home runs against the Reds. So on the season, Anthony, it has been, undeniably a positive matchup. I think we would both agree how these teams played against each other in July and August doesn't hold a ton of water necessarily, but when we get to pitching matchups, we'll talk a little bit about that. As far as a preview of the Reds, I do have some numbers I'll throw up on the screen. For those who are watching on YouTube, here's their offense at a glance with some rankings here. So they rank 18th in baseball in batting average, 21st in home runs, 19th in OPS, 14th in runs, 24th in weighted runs created plus. Over the last 30 days, home runs have ticked up a little bit, but basically you look up and down this group, Anthony, and it's a pretty average offense, which when I was thinking about who I wanted to face, whether it was the Mets or the Reds, I preferred the Reds because of their offense. You look at this group, and it is not a group that scares you. Their best hitter is Elly De La Cruz, who has a weighted runs created plus of 108 this season. The rest of the guys on that list as over 100 weighted runs created plus guys, basically slightly above average offensive players. TJ Friedel, this is in order from best to worst. TJ Friedel, Austin Hayes, Gavin Lux, Noel V. Marti, and Tyler Stevenson are the average to slightly above average hitters in this group. That's why I like this matchup for the Dodgers most.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that had it been the Mets, even if they might have come in playing poorly, they had guys in that lineup who could really carry a team, right?
Totally.
And especially you get two of those three guys to get hot, and suddenly you get into big trouble.
Totally.
And so they were scary just for that reason. And those guys are like all having good seasons, right? Like so that sort of nervousness you might have felt there was real. The Reds just they don't scare anybody with their offense. Like they have good pitching, but beyond that, like they don't really scare anybody. And you talked about De La Cruz and the 108 weighted runs created plus there. A whole lot of that damage was done early in the season. A lot
he
of
was
it.
really bad the second
He's
half.
been really bad since around the All-Star break or something like that. Like his last month, he's slashing 215, 305, 344. And his OPS starts with
Some Michael Conforto stuff right there. Now we're talking, baby.
Right. So like that's their best guy. So that no one in that lineup scares you. And when you can throw elite starting pitching at that group, you really like that matchup for the Dodgers. And they have good pitching, and we'll talk about that. But their offense does not scare you, especially against this kind of starting rotation.
Totally. And again, what's the Dodgers' biggest weakness? It's the bullpen. Like if my bullpen has to come in, and when you say, hey, they're facing the middle of the order, and it's like, okay, that's TJ Friedel, Austin Hayes, and Gavin Lux. Like I'm not I feel good. I feel good about the Dodgers bullpen if those are the toughest matchups that they're going to have to come in and face. Because again, I'm with you. Like the Mets, just the idea of Juan Soto and Pete Alonso coming up to the plate and one swing being able to change the trajectory of the series, that's what scared me. Now, Elly De La Cruz can still do that. But
Sure.
as you said, he has been really bad over the second half of the season, fairly average and pedestrian for the entirety of the season. I mean, his season-long profile is Mookie Betts. Like if you just take Mookie Betts' season and flip it upside down, that's what Elly De La Cruz has been, and he's their best hitter. So imagine if you walked into the series and Mookie Betts was the guy that you were most reliant on. That's the Reds. As far as matchups go, lefties and righties, I thought this was interesting. Weighted runs created plus, again, 100 is league average. Above it is good. Below it is bad. Against lefties, they are 21 points worse, 21% worse than league average. Against righties, they're 97, so 3% worse than league average. On the road, they're 93. So again, a below average offense, but to the same token, Anthony, if I told you they were going to be able to hit righties or lefties and struggle against the rest, what do the Dodgers have a lot of in the bullpen? A whole crap load of lefties that they're going to be able to throw at people. We know they got one starter who's going to be a lefty they're going to see in this series. So again, still positive for me that this is a team that is below average against righties and very, very below average against lefties.
Yeah, this is where you feel good about this matchup right here. You think the Dodgers are favorites because their pitching should be able to handle this lineup. I won't say with ease, but like the matchup is really good for the Dodgers here.
Yeah, I'm with you. Let's go over to the pitching side of things. On the season, some of the similar numbers. Starting pitchers, ERA, they are 8th in Major League Baseball. Bullpen ERA, 14th in Major League Baseball. Strikeouts per 9, 14th. Walks per 9, 11th. Home runs, 17th. So again, I mean, this makes sense, right? Like there are so many teams that make the Major League Baseball playoffs. The Reds are about the 12th best team in Major League Baseball. So guess what? They're really average in all of these stats. We talked a little bit about starting pitching. The fact that they're 8th in Major League Baseball in ERA lines up with what the Dodgers are going to see in Hunter Green, Lodolo, and Andrew Abbott if it gets that far. 2 of those guys are lefties, by the way. One of them, Hunter Green, is a righty. But bullpen, I mean, it's an average bullpen. They improved the bullpen second half of the season post-trade deadline, but this isn't a bullpen like the Padres bullpen, for example, where if you're trailing in the 7th inning, you're like, holy crap, what are we going to do now? So again, more good stuff here. One other stretch against lefties versus against righties. Lefties have hurt them. 712 OPS, but from left-handed hitters against their pitching, 692. Right-handed hitters against them. So look for some of the Dodger lefties to be able to feast a little bit. But when you look at these numbers, lefties, righties, overall pitching stuff, Anthony, I'm curious what jumps out to you.
This is where you can get a little nervous with their starting pitching.
Yeah.
It's been good. With that said, though, I think the Dodgers have handled them pretty well.
Yeah.
In the times they've played them more recently. So I think it holds a little bit more weight there. But that is where the Reds are going to make their money. That's where they're best right now, and that's why they're in the playoffs, is because that rotation kind of dragged them across the finish line here. But again, you look at the overall matchups here, and I think the Dodgers are going to be the favorite for a reason. Again, 3-game series, so we'll see what happens. But I would say the Dodgers are in a much better position than the Reds are right now. And I'm seeing some people say like, oh, well, we were confident in 23. I do not know what version of the Dodgers you all were watching in 23 coming down the stretch of the season and going into the postseason. They had like one pitcher and his arm was falling off.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, maybe some people felt like they were going to make a run that year, but it felt to me like a long shot. I guess I was surprised how they lost that series, but I wasn't surprised that they lost.
Yeah.
This team is in much better shape than they were in 23.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. On the pitching side, by the way, Hunter Green expected to pitch for the Reds in game number 1. Dodgers have seen him once so far this season. 5 innings, 6 hits, 5 runs, 3 of them earned, 2 homers, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. That was just a month ago at the end of August. So the Dodgers are not going to be afraid to see Hunter Green in game 1. And then Nick Lodolo is on track to start game 2. Did pitch 1 inning in relief today, but I assume he will start game 2. Dodgers have seen him twice. I'm sure a lot of Dodger fans remember the first one of those back in July when he had 11 strikeouts against them. But he finished that game with 5 1/3, 6 hits, 2 runs, a homer, and a walk as well. He came back a month later, a month ago, 4 2/3, 5 hits, 4 earned, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. So those are the 2 best guys. Andrew Abbott's been very good. Dodgers have not seen him. He would probably be their game 3 starter, is my guess. But I look at those matchups, and I again, these guys have good numbers, Anthony. But I love to know that the Dodgers have gotten to them. That both of these guys, again, Lodolo in 10 innings has allowed 6 runs. Green in 5 innings has allowed 5 runs. Just from a pure confidence stepping into the box, believing that you're going to be successful, the Dodgers have reason to believe it.
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, I would rather be on this side of the ledger than the Cincinnati side, right? If you're rooting for a team. And with that said, again, 3-game series. The Reds, they can win a series against the Dodgers. Anybody can win a series against anybody when it's 3 games. That's why the Major League Baseball playoffs are kind of what they are and so different from other sports. So it's not like this is going to be just a team you expect to walk over. But again, the numbers bear it out. The matchup on paper is favorable for the Dodgers. Now the guys just have to go out and perform kind of as expected. And I think that if they do that, the Dodgers are just better. They're a better ball club. And so then I think you get that result, but you just got to hope for no hiccups here. Cause in a series like this, right, it's 2 or 3 breaks that don't go your way. And all of a sudden season is on the brink.
Totally. I mentioned the Dodgers getting a chance to see a couple of their pitchers. The Reds have not seen Blake Snell this season, which I think is an advantage for the Dodgers. Yamamoto, they saw once, 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 9 strikeouts. Ohtani, they saw twice, once early on in July, once in August. 8 total innings, 7 hits, 3 earned, 13 strikeouts. So both Yamamoto and Ohtani successful against the Reds. Ohtani's I would put an asterisk against because the first time was basically a rehab appearance that he was making against the Reds, and the second time he was much better. So all this is lining up. I don't want us to sound like a broken record where we say, hey, the Dodgers are way better on paper, but it's a 3-game series, so who knows? But that's pretty much the summary. Like everything leans Dodgers, except for bullpen. The Dodgers have the advantage in every situation. Their starting pitching is better by a decent amount. Their hitting is better by a mile. Bullpen, Reds probably advantage, but honestly, it's probably not a significant advantage. It's an advantage, but not a significant one. And even history, Dodgers have won 5 out of 6. Dodgers starters that are going to be seen in this series have looked better against the Reds than the Red starters in the series have looked against them. The Reds struggle against lefties. The Dodgers have a crap load of lefties they can throw out of the bullpen. Like all these things. Ellie De La Cruz, by the way, a 65 weighted runs created plus against left-handed pitching. So the Dodgers, every time he comes up and the bullpen is out there, they can throw a lefty at him.
He
and
might not see a righty. He might not
Totally.
see a righty that's not a starter in this series.
And that's the thing is sometimes when you've got two lefties, you've got to choose, like, it's the seventh inning. Do we throw the lefty now and risk not like they're going to have 4 or 5. And so maybe it's Tanner Scott becomes the Ellie De La Cruz killer. And it's like, hey, Tanner, as soon as this guy comes in the game, you're going, comes up, it's your thing. But again, everything lining up nicely for the Dodgers when it comes to the matchups here. So good news all the way around. We got a bunch of super chats. Let's get through some of these. Brandon asks, who starts every day at second base in the playoffs? Second base and outfield, there seemed to be like an open spot in those two places. I believe the consensus seems to be that against right-handed pitchers, which would be Hunter Green in game 1, that Michael Conforto would be starting in left field, and that Tommy Edman would be starting, or excuse me, Miguel Rojas maybe at second base. And then against left-handed pitchers, Tommy Edman would be starting in center field, and Miguel Rojas would be starting at second base. So how do you see that shaking out? Do you think Miguel Rojas is an everyday player and that it's a Conforto and Edman platoon? I worded that poorly, but that's ultimately, I think, the expectation.
Yeah, I think at least to start, if Tommy Edman gets going, then you might see him at both positions. Or if Michael Conforto gets hot, you might see him get a game against, a lefty or something like that. Maybe now that's probably going too far, but I think it starts out mostly with what we've been seeing so far. Yeah. And then I think they'll make adjustments if somebody, like I said, gets going and you say, oh, you know what? Okay, Tommy Edman or Miguel Rojas, like we need you in the lineup right now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because I know like the Tommy Edman, I believe Tommy Edman is going to be a guy that makes an impact at some point in the postseason. And yet at the same time, it's like the Kike Hernandez thing. We just haven't seen that materialize offensively at any point since he has come back from the injury. And so I think that's the hard part for fans that I'm interacting with on social media is they're remembering NLCS MVP, Tommy Edman and Michael Conforto, who did finish the season with the 200 batting average. Shout out to him for not having a 199 on his track record.
Good
but I think that's the hard part for people who, if they aren't looking closely at the numbers to realize that Michael Conforto had a better offensive season than Tommy Edman did from a weighted runs created plus perspective, that it might be hard for them to get there without knowing that. Yeah.
And look, it doesn't matter what we think. They know what's going on under the hood over there. And so, totally. They're going to round out the lineup. This isn't the time now where these guys have long leashes like that anymore, right? Yeah. Like if a guy's going to hit $150 for, over the course of, 3 or 4 games, like he might not see that 5th game. This is the time where you need to produce if you're going to stay on the field. It's why Kike Hernandez plays in October.
Well, I was going to say, we didn't mention him. Like, is Kike going to be in the mix for Edman's job or Conforto's job or for some of Rojas's at bats, do you think?
Yeah, I think he's going to be in the mix probably all around. I think it just sort of depends on the matchup at that time. But they are going to find a way to get him in the lineup for sure.
Yeah. I think he's going to be like the first pinch hitter you see in pretty much every single game. As soon as there's an advantageous spot, whether it's they switch from a lefty to a righty and he's pinch hitting for Edman or he's pinch hitting for Conforto or he's pinch hitting for Rojas. Like, I think that's what's going to happen because they also view him as a defensive probably upgrade in some of the places that he would be coming into. So Kike fans, don't you worry. I think he's going to be able to make an impact in this one. ADK says, Reds game plan literally is anything can happen in the playoffs. So I like the Dodgers' chances. This 162 game preseason is brutal, by the way. Go blue. Perfectly said, AD. Yeah. No notes on any of that. Brandon with another. What's that?
Season starts now.
Totally. Brandon with another super chat. Outside of starters, who's in the bullpen? We need Keektober starting every day in the playoffs. He's better than Miggy and playoff proven. Miggy didn't play much last year. Miggy's just been too good in the regular season consistently to lose his spot. And I say that's the problem if you're a Kike person, but for the Dodgers, like Rojas has produced, you're not afraid that the moment is going to be too big for him. And so as much as I love Kike and I deeply believe in playoff Kike, in the face of all logic to say that a guy can just turn the switch on in October, I believe in playoff Kike. And yet all the guys in front of him have kind of played well enough over the last little bit or over the last year to say there's not a spot for him right now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to figure out, or to watch the coaching staff figure out how they get all these guys at bats, because like you can't sit Rojas right now against a left-handed pitcher, I don't think, right? Like he's been too good. And you want Edman hitting from a certain side of the plate versus the other. And then you try to find ways to get Kike in the game where you can make a difference.
Yeah.
The nice thing about him is that this goes for Rojas too, I think, is that they don't need to start to still have an impact and find a way to make their presence felt.
Yeah.
So they have that part of it going for them. Like I do still think that, when there's right-handed pitching out there, Conforto is going to be the guy for now.
Yeah.
So how they sort of move the pieces around, I think will be interesting. But like I said, I think if somebody gets going and it's like, you know what, we got to get this guy in there. Maybe that guy is Kike. We'll see. But this is the time of the year where the production matters, and it's going to be a meritocracy for the next month.
Absolutely. Jedi Engineer, today I learned physical game programs stopped being produced in 2018. Sadness for my Kershaw final game memento settled for a series magnet. So stuff. But I'm glad you got a magnet. That's a solid little memento. Stick it on the fridge. Those things seem to last forever. So Shelly says, I love how the Dodgers are playing. We have swagger and good vibes up and to the right, and I'm nervous. Yes, I said it last time. I don't enjoy watching playoff baseball. It just stresses me out. So here we go. Sign me up for stress for hopefully the next month. Not Jeff Spiegel. Best Dodgers content. Thanks for another season, gents. Thank you. We appreciate it. Season's not done. We got, again, hopefully another month. Cole says, assuming the Dodgers win the world's wild card, predict the wild card MVP. I don't believe this is a real award, but we can choose someone. Dodgers win the next 2 games or 2 out of the next 3, Anthony. Who's the MVP?
Yeah, I don't, there's not a wild card MVP, but I think if we can pick one, let's go non-starting pitcher, right? Because they're each probably going to go 6 or 7 innings. Let's hope. So I'll say as an offensive player, I will go with.
Don't take my guy.
I'll go with Freddie.
Gosh dang it, Anthony. Why are you taking my guy? First of all, he always hits in the postseason. I'll never forget the 2020 when he absolutely murdered us and went swing for swing with Corey Seager.
Gosh. Yeah.
But I also mentioned it, like left-handed hitters have had success against the Reds more than right-handed hitters. So you pencil all those things in, and Freddie, and he's hot, by the way, because he keeps hitting home runs. So it's good. J-Rod says, Jeff with the nerd stats for Edman Conforto talk. Weighted runs created plus, does that still qualify as a nerd stat, or have we moved that into the general? Like I joked with someone, they called it a nerd stat. I'm like, they literally have changed it so that you can understand the number just by looking at it. 100 is average, higher is good, lower is bad. Like that doesn't nerd stats. I feel like you need to explain them. That one is
getting into the lexicon like OPS. Like OPS used to be quote unquote nerd stat. I think weighted runs created plus is it's up there with like fielding independent pitching. Like I think it's a pretty common one now.
Yeah, Bergman says anything with a plus at the end of it, he's not into. So if there's a plus or a minus at the end, that's where he draws the line. So David chimes in with the super chat. We appreciate you, David. 8-2 since Dave Roberts left Blake Snell in to finish that inning against the Phillies. I said it before, that was the turning point to this season. And I think it might be 9-2, including the last game of the Phillies series. I could be wrong there, but there you go. You buying this, Anthony? Dave Roberts showing some love to his guy, Blake Snell. Blake Snell rewarding him. That was kind of a switched flip moment.
I think they've had a few of these moments over the course of the last couple of weeks where it's like they're sort of galvanizing, like, okay, we're in this kind of thing. That was one of them. The final start at home for Kershaw, I think, was another one. I think what they did to the Giants too in that 4-game series was kind of one of those that should have been a sweep, but I think the way they played there and just sort of the way that series went down and kind of ending any chance the Giants had at the postseason too, I think that was another one of those. So I think they've had a few, coming down the stretch here. Man, they're happening at the right time.
Well, you hinted at this, and we need to pause and talk about this because this is fantastic. The Dodgers literally stepped on the throat of the San Francisco Giants a week and a half ago. The Giants were like the hottest team in baseball. They were surging towards wild card contention, and the Dodgers beat them 5 out of 7 and ended their season. And then a few days later, here come the Arizona Diamondbacks, one of the hottest teams in baseball, surging towards wild card contention, win a couple games against the Dodgers. They're right in it. What did the Dodgers do? Stepped on their freaking throats and ended their season. All the while, the Padres came back of the division. This is going to be the year. They're going to win the NL West. What did the Dodgers do? Stepped on their freaking throats. Think about how beautiful it is. I know it's 93 wins. I know we got to play the wild card. But like literally in a 2-week stretch, you allowed the Giants fans to get their hopes up and then you killed them. You got Diamondbacks fans got their hopes up and then you killed them. And Padres fans got their hopes up and then you killed them. Like that in and of itself, Anthony, needs to be celebrated.
Cincinnati's next, right?
Exactly. Shout out to Gavin Lux and Gavin Lux's season. This is the Mike Sirota revenge series. Here you go. Against
there
Gavin
you go.
Lux. So, all right, let's get to some news and notes because we do have some roster notes, and then we're going to make some predictions about the roster. Let's start with Blake Snell. Blake Snell, according to Dave Roberts, is a, quote, good bet to start game number 1. He basically was asked who's going to start, and he's like, I don't know. He's like, well, I'll give you a hint. Blake Snell's a good bet. So there you go. Blake Snell expected to start game 1. That's a little bit of a surprise. I think most folks thought it was going to be Shohei Ohtani based on how the pitching had lined up, based on the fact that Ohtani threw a bullpen yesterday, Snell threw a bullpen today. Not that Snell's going to be on short rest, but it just seemed like it was trending towards Ohtani and then Snell. Were you surprised that they gave the game 1 to Snell? Because now there's a chance Yamamoto gets game 2 instead of game 3, and Ohtani actually gets bumped to game 3 if necessary.
Yeah, it sounds it was a little bit of a surprise, but not a lot. And I think I can't remember exactly like where the Reds and Mets situation was. I think it had not happened yet. So even though the Reds are bad against left-handed pitching, I don't think that figured into it much. Because I think the Mets at least were still playing, and so he didn't know who the opponent was going to be quite yet. But I was a little bit surprised, as much as you can be, by figuring that it was like, for me, I figured it was going to be some combination of Snell, Yamamoto first.
Yeah,
I was a fan of throwing Ohtani in game 1.
So
but like you're picking between those 3 guys, like it's
who cares? Yeah,
the only thing you like. It's weird because there's these arguments for, and it's the same, right? Like whoever you're going to pitch in as your game 3 starter, like let's say now either Yamamoto or Ohtani. I think Yamamoto is going to go game 2, but you go, boy, your season can end and you don't throw fill in the blank, either Yamamoto or Ohtani. And it's like, it's true for both of those guys. And you could have said the same thing about Snell, who's been one of the best pitchers in the league since he's come back. You know what I mean? Like, it's a really good problem to have.
Yeah, this is, do you want the bone-in ribeye or the big fillet tonight, sir? And it's
Perfect.
like, you know what? Surprise me, because I'm going to be thrilled no matter what you bring me out. So that's one note. The second note that we got today that was a surprise to me, I know Blake has been on this one from the beginning, not thinking Clayton Kershaw was going to be on the wild card roster. And obviously the fact that he was pitching today, whether or not he was going to pitch the whole game or what they were going to do. But the news came out that Clayton Kershaw will not be on the wild card roster. Not official, but he threw 100 pitches today. So he would not be available until game 2 or 3 at the earliest. How surprised were you? Obviously, like, not how surprised were you based on knowing he threw 100 pitches or was starting today, but a week ago, if I had told you Clayton Kershaw will not be on the wild card roster, would that have surprised you?
A week ago, it would not have. I was one of the people
after his bullpen appearance, after he came out of the bullpen and got 3 outs. If I told you he wouldn't be on the wild card roster, would it have changed anything?
I'd have been, yeah. And I was a little bit surprised today when that news came down, especially, and I think you and I were texting, and I said, especially because of what happened with the Brock Stewart stuff. And I know he's a righty, but Kershaw's, the splits don't matter for me. You can get guys out from either side. And so I was like, okay, that is a little bit surprising. It's not stunning news, but I did think that there was probably going to be a spot for him in the bullpen, especially because Dave has talked about it with him too. I think him not being there maybe hints that he could get the ball in an NLDS situation.
Yep. Like this to me, the decision making tells me he's going to start a playoff game if they get there. So there's 2 pieces of this to me. One, I'm just going to say this. If the Dodgers somehow don't make it out of the wild card, I'm going to be pissed because of that. I'm
Sure.
also going to be pissed because Clayton Kershaw was not on the roster. Like, this is you better as hell make it out of this first round series if Clayton Kershaw is not on this roster. That's one piece. Because I think, like, I'm not even talking purely on reputation, although I am talking a little bit about reputation. I think you could justify Clayton Kershaw over like the last 3 or 4 guys at the back end of this postseason roster we're going to talk about. But the second thing, as the biggest Kershaw guy possible, I don't love the idea of him starting a game in the NLDS. Like, we have 4 good starting pitchers. We shouldn't need 5. So I get that Yamamoto, Ohtani, they need some extra days off, but I'm just like, hey, Galaxy Brain folks, figure this thing out and line this up where we only need 4, because Clayton Kershaw, as good as he has been this season, is a dramatic drop-off from Snell, Ohtani, Yamamoto, and Glasnow. And I'm saying this as the biggest Kershaw guy possible. There is a drop. So I don't love the idea that he's going to be starting, which this move tells me he will.
Yeah, that's kind of what I took from it too. Maybe it'll surprise us, be like, look, he's gonna be a bullpen piece, there, and we're not gonna start him. But this, I think this told me that they're considering giving him the ball as a starter. It's possible that they didn't want to cut his last regular season start short and said, you're going to take the ball and you're going to go do your thing and, all of that kind of stuff. I also think they know they have bigger fish to fry. So if they thought that, they wouldn't do it just for that, is what my better judgment tells me. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think I'm in the same boat in that, like, I'm fine with him starting if that's what happens. He's not one of their top 4 starters, though. And I think it's very, very clear. I mean, he may not even be one of their top 5 starters, if we're being honest.
Totally. Sheehan's been one of the 10 best pitchers in baseball for the last 6 starts.
Yeah. So, it was a little bit surprising just given the way they had used him. I thought for sure he was going to be a bullpen piece after how the way they used him. Coming down the stretch here. So yeah, I don't know what that was about now.
Crazy. Because what was it, to your point? Like, why even put him in the bullpen and use him in a game? Then he goes out there, he gets you 3 straight outs. Like, he does the job. He proves to you that he can do it. And then you're like, yeah, no, we're good. We're good, actually, Clayton. Like, go through 100 pitches in a meaningless game 162. And then, like, we're going to leave you off the playoff roster. Like, because again, Glasnow is going to be on the playoff roster. So
which was also a little bit of a surprise too. We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, that was the second part of the surprise today, was that, like, I thought Glasnow, again, he was in the bullpen against whoever they played in the last series at Dodger Stadium. Then he actually was used out of the bullpen in Arizona. And then for them to say that, oh, he's not going to have that role in the wild card series, surprising. And then to say potentially Glasnow is a bullpen piece, surprising again.
Makes no sense to me. Because again, Glasnow's the guy that you should be putting in bubble wrap and saying, get ready for NLDS game 1, Tyler.
Right.
And I know it's lefty righty, the whole thing, but it's doesn't make a ton of sense to me. But that's the news that we've gotten so far. So we'll set that aside because we're going to talk playoff roster in a second. Brock Stewart, if you have not heard, is out for the 2025 season. Will not be reappearing. Has to have shoulder surgery. Will miss part of, but not all of 2026, is the reports we have now, which is a bummer. And the last piece here is Will Smith. Dave Roberts quote. This is like quintessential Dave Roberts. He is hoping, but not hopeful, regarding Will Smith being available to him in the wild card series. So he is hoping Will Smith is available to him, but he is not hopeful. Now, does that mean he's not sure, so he doesn't have reason to be hopeful? Does that mean he has reason to not be hopeful? I mean, interpret this how you will, Anthony, but this isn't the news any of us wanted to hear regarding Will Smith.
No, and I was already kind of counting him out, at least for this series anyway. In all honesty, I'm kind of counting him out for at least the next 2 series if they get there. We'll see, but I just don't know how another few days makes it better if they do advance.
Yeah. Well, I'll save my thoughts till we get to the postseason roster prediction here in just a second. Got some more super chats back to back. Says, is it just me or is everything coming together? It's not just you. I think this is, I asked Anthony, I think this is, every Dodgers fan would tell you that today they've won 9 of their last 11. The starting rotation made it to the postseason healthy. The top of the lineup made it to the postseason healthy. The Reds is pretty much the ideal matchup for them in the wild card if you have to play the wild card. So Things seem to be lining up. Like, I'm just imagining if this was Arizona, I would feel way worse about this if they had to play the Diamondbacks, just because I don't know, they're the Diamondbacks. So I love that it's the red. Big Bob Johnson says magic number 14. Let's make it happen. Do it for Kersh. I have to imagine, Anthony, in the clubhouse, do it for Kersh is a thing. Like, hey, guys, Kershaw's the GOAT, and we got to do this for him. Like, that's the type of rallying, unifying thing that teams can buy into, and it's real for this group.
And I'm sure that'll be they may not say it out loud. You might not hear it until like if they win it all and like that this was a theme. But like, don't drop this series to the Reds because Kershaw needs to throw in the playoffs, kind of thing, right? Like that might be a thing too. Yeah, I absolutely think that this is something that's going around the clubhouse.
Not Jeff Spiegel. Why not Ohtani, Sheehan, piggyback game 1, Snell, Yamamoto game 2? My thing is, you've got 4 starting pitchers who are very good, and you need at least 4 of them. So keep them as starting pitchers would be my answer. I think the bullpen has given me just enough confidence to believe that they'll be able to sort of figure it out. But Sheehan's going to be in the bullpen. So would you be a fan of kind of a piggyback thing? Where do you stand on this?
If you remember, like earlier in the summer, I said, like, look, I could see this happening in the regular season, especially it was during the time when the bullpen was really getting taxed from an inning standpoint too. Logistically, it's so much less feasible in the postseason.
Yeah.
I was on with the Blue Review guys on Greg Bergman and crew from the ESPN LA, their Dodger show. And we kind of discussed this, and I was like, look, it's not as simple as just going, here's a good starter, here's a good starter, you guys go and pitch this whole game. It's not that easy. And I know you talked a little bit about it with Lance, and I thought Lance had a really good perspective on it too. Is like, you don't know how some of these guys are going to respond in that situation, given routines and those such things. But the bigger part of it, I think, is when we talk about from a logistics standpoint, like, it's not the same as like a bullpen day, right? So you can't go like, well, a guy would have thrown 30 or 40 pitches anyway in the bullpen. This is a whole different thing. Comparing a bullpen session to an October baseball game is not, it's apples and oranges. And also, like for Snell and Yamamoto, you burn both those guys in one game then.
Yeah, it's brutal.
And now they both get pushed back to later in the next series if you advance. And so you're painting yourself into a corner before you even know if you have to or not.
Yeah. Here's a good way of thinking about it. Like, if you do that, you're basically saying, okay, Clayton Kershaw is definitely going to start a postseason game, and we're going to need 5 innings out of him in that game. So my question would be, which of these would you rather me say, hey, Kershaw needs to take down 15 outs in a playoff game, or you can pick any 2 or 3 relievers and you're going to need 8 to 9 outs from those 2 or 3 guys in a situation? Like, as bad as the Dodgers bullpen is, I think I would still take, okay, I can find 3 of my best relievers to go get me 9 outs with matchups that I get to predetermine. Like, that's still a better option than, okay, Clayton, you're starting a postseason game. I need 15 outs out of you.
Yeah.
And then I got to go get 12 outs out of my bullpen after that. Like, so that's essentially the decision you're making, inserting Kershaw into the rotation or needing 3 innings from your bullpen. So
yeah, that's a really good point. And I think now is we have to start thinking about relief appearances in terms of counting outs, not covering innings, because I think it's a different mentality too. And that's how the managers will manage these games now. And so it might sound redundant or like kind of the same thing, but it's kind of not, because typically in the regular season, you'll go, okay, Alex Vesia, you're going to get the 7th inning or the 8th inning, no matter, however many hitters it takes you. Now you're going, okay, I'm looking at what's coming up here. Vesia, we might need 4 outs from you.
Yeah.
Or, you're now looking at it that way. You're building a bridge to the end of the game based on outs, not innings. So it looks a little different there. And so I think your point's a really good one. I think also for like a guy like Sheehan, let's say you put him with Ohtani, and Ohtani gives you 100 pitches in 6 innings.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so now you're going to burn Sheehan for, let's say, 3 innings, maybe.
Hopefully.
I would rather use Sheehan potentially 3 times in let's say the NLDS, potentially 3 times in a longer series versus once. Because if you throw him 3 innings, he's now burned.
He's burned. Yeah. Might as well be a start. It's a good point. Ravens Moreland says Snell will likely give you more innings, saves the bullpen for games 2 and 3. I actually think this is why I like Yamamoto in game 2, because if I told you which Dodgers starter is going to get the most innings pitched in an outing, I think I would take Yamamoto over
It's
Snell.
Yamamoto. Yeah.
Yeah. So having him in game 2 is perfect because that's the day you want your bullpen rested so that everybody's available in game 1 and everybody's available in game 3 without having to do back to back to back, which you're not going to want to do with anybody. So I think Snell is good. Like Snell, I'm expecting 6 minimum from Blake Snell, but Yamamoto, like I wouldn't be surprised to see 7. I think I'd be surprised if Snell got 7. Not surprised, but you know what I mean. If I had to choose,
just because he's not as efficient.
Yeah, totally, intentionally. So, all right, let's get to the wild card series roster predictions. As a reminder for folks, Dodgers roster as of today is currently at 28. It needs to come down to 26. You can have a maximum of 13 pitchers, asterisk, unless you're the Dodgers, who can have 14 because of the Shohei Ohtani rule. So Ohtani basically is only going to count as a hitter in the exercise that we're about to do. So the Dodgers can carry up to 13 pitchers. However, we've had debates on this show. Will the Dodgers actually fill out a full bullpen of 13 pitchers plus Ohtani for a 3-game series, or do they take an extra guy on the bench for the first series and change it for the 5 games? So as I look at this, Anthony, I think I've got let's start offensive side of things. I think I've got 12 guys that I think are locks, basically. I think 12 of the 13 are locks. That would be, now this is where it's going to get interesting. I've got Rortvedt and Rushing on this list. I've got Freddie Freeman, Tommy Edman, Mookie Betts, Max Muncy, Miguel Rojas, Andy Pages, Teoscar Hernandez, Michael Conforto, Kike Hernandez, and Shohei Ohtani. So that is, those are 12 locks, I think. The 13th spot would come down to Will Smith, if you think he's available, Ha-Seong Kim, and Alex Call. I actually think Ha-Seong Kim is a lock for this roster also because of the speed that he offers you and potentially defensive sub, but primarily speed. So I would actually move him into my 13th spot as a lock. I'm curious how you feel about that. And I'm not saying Colin Smith are off, by the way. I'm just saying I think I've got 13 guys that I feel pretty confident are going to be on this list. Again, that's Rortvedt, Rushing, Freeman, Edman, Betts, Muncy, Rojas, Pages, Teoscar, Conforto, Kike, Ohtani, and Kim.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Kim thing.
Okay.
I think he brings more value for a playoff roster.
Totally.
Than Call does. And I'm also out on the Will Smith idea just because it could potentially be just a 2-game series, and I don't know how you use him in that situation. And also, like if one of your catchers gets hurt and you are in that emergency situation, then you can just bring him back in.
Yeah.
Because you get to replace that guy like you would in the regular season. So I'm with you. I think it is Kim. I think Kim takes that last spot just because he brings an element that no one else on this team really has. And in the postseason in particular, it's something that can be valuable. And that's essentially his speed.
Yeah. And I'm going to circle back to Colin Smith because I do think at the end of the bullpen discussion, you've got 3 or 4 names in contention for like 1 or 2 spots. So we're going to come back to that. But yes, to clarify, to repeat what Anthony just said, for those that don't know, if you are on a postseason roster and you get hurt, you can be replaced, but then the injured player cannot come back in the following series.
Right.
So let's say Dalton Rushing is on the wild card roster, gets hurt. He can come off, be replaced by Will Smith, but then Dalton Rushing would be ineligible to play in the NLDS, could come back for the NLCS. So the fear for some people with Will Smith is if he were to get hurt and you have to replace him on the roster, then he would have to miss an additional series. So some context there. Let's talk pitching. I have 11 locks for pitching. Again, Ohtani is not counting towards the 11. It's 11 plus Ohtani. So I've got Snell and Yamamoto. From the left-handed side, I've got Vesia, Bonda, Dreyer, and Scott, who I think are all locks. From the right-handed side, I've got Trinan, Sasaki, Sheehan, Glasnow, because of what we talked about earlier, and Edgardo Enriquez, all as locks. So again, that's 5 righties. It's 4 lefties, plus Snell, plus Yamamoto, and then Ohtani, who doesn't count. That does not include Justin Robleski. It does not include Klein. It does not include Kasperius, and it does not include Hurt, which we do have to make a note about Klein. And this is our guy, Blake Williams, giving us this information. Because Klein was optioned down to the minor leagues, he has to stay down for, I believe it's 10 days or 15 days. Whatever the number of days is, he's actually not eligible to be on the wildcard roster, according to Blake, or the NLDS roster. He would have to wait until the NLCS roster to come back. So Klein is actually not in the mix. So again, I've got 11 plus Ohtani. That does not include Robleski, Kasperius, or Kyle Hurt in that group. Anybody you would disagree with?
The only one I would have
we
a
still got
conversation.
spots available, by the way. So when I say Robleski's not in that list, it doesn't mean for sure. I just think the other guys feel like I would be surprised if one of them is not on the list.
Sure. And I think I agree with you there. Edgardo makes it because he's right-handed.
Yeah.
Too, and I think that's the biggie. That's the big reason right there, because the only one I could possibly quibble with is the Robleski one.
Yeah.
And so, you have to have some right-handed pitching, right? And so Edgardo's in there. I agree.
Roki, any issues with him being a lock?
No, actually, not at all. No. He's looked
this exercise, once Klein is moved off to the side, this exercise is a lot easier for me because a lot of these decisions have been made for them where it's like, okay, Klein's not available, Stewart's not coming back, Kopech is hurt, Yates is on the IL. Like all these decisions we thought they were going to have to make have kind of been made for them.
We say it a lot on this show. These things tend to play themselves out, and then all the decisions you think you might have to make are sort of made for you. Or maybe not with the rotation, but that's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
With the bullpen, I think it's kind of just worked itself out.
Totally. So that leaves us with 2 roster spots still to go. Again, because right now we've got, sorry, I got to plug my computer in. Right now we've got 13 offensive players, including Ohtani, and 11 pitchers. So we can add 2 more pitchers. We can add a pitcher and a hitter. We could add 2 more hitters if we really wanted to. And so I think the guys we're talking about here are Will Smith, Alex Call, and Justin Robleski. Those 3 guys I think are competing for 2 spots. Again, if you want to make a case for Ben Kasperius, I've tried, can't get there. Kyle Hurt, I've tried, I can't get there. I don't think I would be totally shocked if one of those 2 guys is on there, even over a Justin Robleski. But for now, they have had opportunities to bring those guys up and have chosen not to bring them up for whatever reason. So again, I think it's Call, it's Smith, and it's Robleski here. And these are the questions I think you're asking. You already have 4 left-handed pitchers on this wild card roster. Do you want a 5th in Justin Robleski? Or do you want an innings eater? Like, do you want a guy that if one of these games gets out of hand, that you can just turn to Robleski and say, hey, we need you to take down 3 or 4 innings today to preserve the bullpen? You don't have that because Glasnow's not going to be that guy and Kershaw's not on this list. So that's one option. The second question is, and this is where the Will Smith piece comes to me. I don't think you need all 26 of these roster spots to be competitive in this 3-game series, especially with the DH. So I wonder, does Will Smith, as a once or twice in this series pinch hitter, like if you feel like, hey, he can't catch a whole game, but like if we need a hit and Rortvet's spots due up and there's runners on 2nd and 3rd with 2 outs in the 7th, can we get one swing out of Will Smith? Is that worth taking up a roster spot? I think that's the case for Will Smith.
Yeah.
Alex Call, the case would be, we know Teoscar's not good defensively. We know Conforto's not good defensively. Even Tommy Edman's been a little bit compromised defensively. He gives you a little bit of speed base running off the bench. So that would be the argument for Robleski, for Smith, and for Call. If you had to pick 2 of these 3, or throw a Kasperius or a Kyle Hurt at me, who would you pick?
I think I would go Call.
Okay.
Because I think you do need that outfield defensive presence, and I think you probably need more than one guy who can do it.
I was going to ask, could Kike Hernandez or Ha-Seong Kim be that? Could Kike Hernandez be that guy that is your closing left fielder or center fielder? Because you're probably not taking Teo's bat out of the lineup unless like you're positive his bat is not coming back up.
Yeah, and I agree. I think if he's left on base, or if he makes the final out or something like that of the 7th inning, let's say, and you got a 3-run lead, I want defense out there in the outfield.
Okay.
That's why I think Call gets the nod there, because you might need 2 of those guys. You might need 1 in each corner. In that situation. So I think, and also like if you needed to too, he's an extra pinch runner. He's got a little bit of speed. You know what I mean? So I'd be fine with that. With a Will Smith thing, I think it's a pain tolerant situation right now for him.
Yeah.
I don't even know where he stands with that. If he, what it feels like to swing a bat for him. So in that case, I would go Call Robleski.
Okay. And I think we're aligned. Robleski, just give me another pitcher. Give me a guy that can play a bunch of different roles. And again, that night, the other night where he came in with a runner on second base and got the save. It was like, if that didn't stamp his ticket to the postseason, like, I don't care how many lefties are ahead of him. I like him in that spot, to quote Dave Roberts. But I'll be honest, for me, I'm leaning Will Smith, because I just think I play out the scenarios of like what would have to happen for Alex Call to play. And clearly it's defensive, but I just keep coming back to, okay, I think Kike Hernandez is sitting right there. Even Ha-Seong Kim, who I don't love in left field, is sitting right there. And I'm like, I don't think Kike is going to be coming in for Max Muncy for fear that, like, well, what if things go sideways and now Muncy's bat's out of lineup? I don't think Kike is going to come in for Teoscar Hernandez for the same reason. And so I feel like Conforto's the guy they typically defensively replace. And I think I can get by with Kike. And I would hate to have Ben Rortvedt come up in a big moment in the 6th or 7th inning and not feel like I had somebody. Now, maybe it's Kike that just takes the one swing and then Rushing comes in after. I just feel like, hey, I don't really need this roster spot. I don't really need the break glass in case of emergency thing. So just give me Will Smith for the one swing I might need at some point in this series.
I would agree. I'm on that bus with you if I have assurances that Will Smith can swing the bat.
Yeah. And the fact that Dave didn't say he's off is what I'm reading into now. And I see Blake's in the chat. I don't know if Blake is giving us inside info that Will Smith is off of the roster or not. But if the Dodgers have not come out and said he will not be on the roster, Dave Roberts said he's hoping he's on the roster. He's not hopeful he's on the roster. But that's kind of the mentality I'm taking, is if there's a chance and it's just pain tolerance and we get the adrenaline flowing and it's the 7th inning of game 2 and it's a tie game and there's a runner on second, I want the janitor in the building.
Yeah, if he can swing the bat, then I'm totally fine with that. But if it's more of a just, hey, we probably don't need all the roster spots, Will Smith, you're on board just in case.
Yeah.
I actually would rather have a player that can actually do something, even if you might not need him.
So let me ask you this then. If it comes down to Alex Call, is there any part of you that would say, hey, I've got room, just give me a Ben Kasparius instead of Alex Call on the roster?
Not in this series.
Okay. Because that's the tricky part. Again, I don't think you're going to need the 26th man either way in the bullpen or off of the bench. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. So just to recap this, we've got the same group here, except for one. I've got Will Smith in my final spot. You've got Alex Call in your final spot. Other than that, we've got Rortvedt, Rushing, Freeman, Edman, Muncy, Betts, Rojas, Pages, Teoscar, Conforto, Kike, Ohtani. I can't remember if I said him already, and Ha-Seong Kim. On the pitching side of things, we have got Snell, Yamamoto, Ohtani, Vesia, Bonda, Dreyer, Scott, Trinan, Sasaki, Sheehan, Glasnow, Enriquez, and Justin Robleski. So 12 pitchers plus Ohtani, 13 hitters. Ohtani included in that is how we get there. So that's how the Dodgers roster, how we've got it. And that's kind of a mix of how we would do it versus how we think the Dodgers are going to do it as well. Aaron with the super chat. How many bullpen arms do you at least feel good about? Let's just go through this list, Anthony. Yeah. I'm going to read you the guys that are going to be in the bullpen. You tell me feel good or don't feel good.
Yes.
Starting with the lefties. Vesia.
Feel good.
Agreed. Bonda.
Feel good.
Agreed. Jack Dreyer.
Feel good. He's a little more iffy. There's a little pause there, but I feel good. I feel fine with him.
Tanner Scott.
Don't feel good.
Blake Trinan. I feel good, baby.
I don't want to go middle ground here. I don't want to say like.
I appreciate that about you.
I'll say I feel good. Very shaky ground.
You're 51-49 on the feel good side.
Yes.
I love Blake Trinan. Roki.
Feel good, actually.
I'm with you. Emmett Sheehan.
Feel very good.
I feel great. I feel great. Edgardo Enriquez.
Don't feel great.
Yeah, I agree. And he had a stretch where he was really good. He has not been great lately. You don't miss bats. That's what terrifies me.
Last outing was promising, but I take the season-long sample size over the 1 inning.
Yeah. So I mean that's 9. So that's 8 guys, and we just said we feel good about 6 of the 8. Robleski's the 9th.
I feel good about Robleski.
Yeah. So there's 7 of 9 that we feel good about. Glasnow would be the 10th in the bullpen, who's like a wild card because none of us have ever seen him come out of the bullpen. But the stuff alone, I'll say I feel good about Glasnow just based on pure stuff.
Absolutely.
Alone.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. And I also think that the way that these guys get deployed is going to be a little bit different in October than it is during the regular season. And again, we're counting outs, not innings. So I think also the makeup of those, let's say like the last 9 outs might look a little different than it might in August or September too.
Yeah, absolutely. Apes says 95 Reds swept us 3-0. I'm taking this series personal. Reds are going down. Enter MJ, and I took that personal gif. I love it. I love it. Rod says predict what the average number of innings pitched per game by Dodgers starters this postseason. Also, if Smith returns, who will be his backup? So let's start. I'll just give you the 4. If I told you Glasnow, Ohtani, Snell, and Yamamoto start games for the Dodgers this postseason, and the over-under was set somewhere between 6 and 6.1 innings, would you take the over or the under?
I would take the under.
Yeah.
Just because I don't think all these guys are going to be getting into the 7th inning that much. Yeah. I would set it at like 5.2.
That's Sawyer's in the chat said 5.2 exactly. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think Ohtani 6 feels like the max for him, which Snell and Yamamoto, the rest of these guys could give you.
They all could get 7th innings, yeah.
Glasnow, same thing. Like if Glasnow gets through 6 full, I think that would be a pleasant surprise. Not because I think he's going to be bad, but he's like Snell. They just throw a lot of pitches and strike a lot of guys out. So there you go. Good stuff there. Real quick, I want to put a bow a little bit on the regular season, just because I think this is fun to go through. Wins above replacement on the pitching side of things. Do you know who led the Dodgers in wins above replacement?
Yamamoto.
By a lot, 5. Here's the interesting one. 60 inning pitched or more. What Dodgers pitcher led the team in ERA?
Bonda?
So sorry. When I say 60, I don't think they had any relievers get to
60. Gotcha. Is it Ohtani?
Blake Snell, 2.35. Because Ohtani had some of those weird starts in the beginning where he was rehabbing, basically. Yeah. Yamamoto leads the team in wins with 12. Tanner Scott leads the team in saves and blown saves. 23 saves, 10 blown ones. Wins above replacement on the offensive side of things. Ohtani 7.2. Home runs. Ohtani reset the Dodgers franchise record today with the 55th home run. Sets a personal best as well. And then do you know which Dodger ended up winning batting average for the team? There were a couple of guys battling for it.
Yeah, was it Freeman?
Will Smith. Freeman dipped a little bit, and so Will Smith, I believe, beat him. Unless that changed today, but Will Smith hit 296. I believe Freeman was at 294. So some fun ones there.
Yeah. Didn't qualify though for the league race.
Correct. Yeah. Did not qualify for the batting title and would have lost anyways. I didn't even see who ended up winning it. Was it?
I thought it was Trey Turner.
Okay, I know he was.
Could be wrong, but
I know he was in the midst for a while. Was it Xavier Edwards from the Marlins that was kind of making a run at it quietly? Let's see. Trey Turner, you're right. He ended up hitting 305. And then Freddie Freeman hit 294. So there you go. Oh, Nico Horner was in the midst too, 297. I thought there was a Marlins guy. Maybe I'm just a psycho. Oh, Xavier Edwards. He ended up 282. Probably sucked down the stretch. So there you go. And the admin pointing out that Trey Turner's 304 is the lowest batting title winner in National League history, which is pretty crazy.
That's interesting. He had a really good quote. They asked him about being the only guy to finish at 300 or higher this season. And he had a really good answer. And it was just like, you're coming in, you're facing starters who are throwing 98, 99, 100. And that guy has 6 pitches and you have to prep for 6 of those pitches. And then you get into the bullpen and these guys are doing what they do as bullpen arms in the major leagues. And he said also he thinks that since he's been in the league, defenses have gotten much, much better, even without the shift now. And that he thinks that defense in Major League Baseball is as good as it's ever been, which I think is a fair point. There's better athletes. Teams are more prepared for every hitter. And that's not to say that the days, because I think it was just last year that Luis Arraez hit like, I don't know what it was, 320s or something like that.
Yeah.
He had a pretty decent number. But I think you're probably going to start to see some more of this, guys in the low 300s win batting titles in both leagues. I don't think it'll be an every season thing, but I think it'll be a little more common.
Yeah, 6 American League guys were in the 300s, by the way. It was just one on the National League side. And real quick, I saw this stat today. Like what Aaron Judge did to hit, he hit 331 this year. Like, and I'm in the Northwest. I understand the Cal Raleigh argument, and I think it's like a toss up. So, like, you could convince me either way. But the Cal Raleigh people who just like write off Aaron Judge as if he didn't hit 330 with a 460 OBP and a 700 slug this year, the guy hit 330 with 53 home runs. Nobody has ever won the batting title and hit 50 home runs in the same season. Aaron
and not
Judge
won MVP.
and not win MVP. Thank you. I think one other time it had been done, something like that.
Yeah,
So,
I think 2 times it had been done, and both those guys won the MVP.
and
I
look,
think
Cal Raleigh's a catcher, 60 home runs, the best defensive catcher in baseball. Like, I hear all of that. I think it's a totally valid argument. But like, and either side that says it's not close, that's where you lose me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. Also, he hit 60 home runs, and like he didn't even beat Judge by double digits. Like he beat him by 7 home runs. It
Right.
wasn't like Judge hit 35.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And so like that's essentially the only like stat that
So
matters that
yeah.
Raleigh beats him in. Look,
Judge's batting average was 90 points higher. His on base was 100 points higher, and his slug was 100 points higher. For context here, like he hit 7 more home runs and had a 100-point deficit in slugging percentage.
yeah. If I had to vote, it would be Judge. But I understand the Cal Raleigh narrative. I am just I hate voting on narrative because I will never forget R.A. Dickey beating Clayton Kershaw for the Cy Young Award. That was just completely
You and me
made
both.
me want to puke.
That's just below Ryan Braun beating Matt Kemp for MVP
Oh
as far as
gosh.
things I'll never let go in my life. Astros number 1, Ryan Braun number 2, and R.A. Dickey number 3. And at least R.A. Dickey wasn't his fault, so I'll give him that. Real quick, I was doing this. I made 17 bold predictions at some point this season, Anthony. We went 10 for 17 this year, which is
Nice.
pretty good. I feel pretty solid about that. So my midseason ones, I did predict that Tanner Scott would figure it out. That has not aged well. But I did predict that they would not make a big trade at the deadline. That was a win. And I predicted Mookie Betts 800 OPS in the second half of the season, which I'm going to give myself a slight rounding up there because I think he finished at like 796 or something like that. We're going to round up to 800.
There you go. I'm
based
fine
on
with
the
that.
fact that I could have said 750. I went for it, said 800. So there you go. We did some Yamamoto, top LA Cy Young Award finisher.
Yeah.
You and I both had that one. So that's going to be a win. I believe we both said no to Rookie of the Year for Roki Sasaki, which that's going to be a win. I can't remember what you had. I had Dodgers, Padres, NL West finishing order, so that's going to be a win. My over on the win total is going to be an L by a lot, by about 17 or 18 wins. So we're not.
I thought I was low on mine, and I was 10 games off.
Yeah, and you were on the under though, so that was the key there. That was the key. All right, let's get to some questions here. All caps questions. Throw those in the chat. We'll get to some of those. We'll be on here for 5 or 6 more minutes. We got another super chat here. Scarecrow, great show as always. Love all the nice stat visuals. Let's have a good postseason. Yes. Thank you. And yes, please, please, please let us not be done talking about the 2025 Dodgers in like 4 days, 3 days. We could be done in 3 days. 72 hours from now, somebody's season could be over, which is an absolutely insane thing to think about. Rod asked this, and I'm glad because somebody else asked it. If Smith returns, who would you choose as his backup? We touched on this briefly, but you said Dalton Rushing will be in your opinion, Dalton Rushing should be the backup either to Rortvedt or Smith, but never third string.
Yes. Yeah, I think he has more value than Rortvedt as the number 2 catcher if Smith is in there. And I also don't think he should start over Rortvedt though. It's kind of an interesting thing. It's just it's the value of the position he holds on the bench there that I think you could get a little bit more out of him, because of his bat.
Yeah. And that has been my point all along is that if Will Smith is going to be playing, and I got killed for this, but if Will Smith is going to be playing, I want Dalton Rushing as the backup because all I care about with my backup catcher is can you get a hit for me when I need it? And if my life depends on one of those 2 players getting a hit, I'm taking Dalton Rushing. So, but as I said all along, if Will Smith can't start, then I'm perfectly fine Rortvedt over Rushing because I think the defense is that much better and the offense up until the last week there had not been like enough from rushing to justify otherwise. Aaron asks predictions for the other wild card series. Cubs Padres. It will be the other one in Chicago. You think the Padres get eliminated?
I do. They're not playing good baseball.
God, buddy that I run into every once in a while as a Padres fan, insufferable right now. Please, come on, Cubs friends. Please. Hawaiian Kira, opinions on the Mets and Astros not making the playoffs. Don't care about the Mets, I'll be honest. Other than that, I didn't want to face Soto or Alonso, but oh man, beautiful stuff. You really hate to see the Astros miss the playoffs. Just an organization that does things the right way and deserves the best, I know everybody was rooting for them, but it's tragic that the Trastros will not be in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, the Mets thing was interesting too, though, because one, they spent like the Dodgers. They were the other team who was ruining baseball, and they had a historic kind of collapse. It was just, wow.
And my thing, I sent this on social media. Any Dodgers fan who hates Dave Roberts, go look at the Mets of 2025. Go look at some of the Padres series of you get mad at Dave because he only wins 93 games and wins the division but doesn't get a bye. It is within the realm of possibilities that you could spend like the Dodgers spend and not make the playoffs. The Mets are proof of that. The Padres are proof of that. What Dave Roberts never does is he never misses the playoffs. He never doesn't win the division, basically. One time he did. But
yeah, and they won 106 games that year.
Exactly. So there are just no down years with Dave Roberts. So say what you will. You can hate some of the bullpen stuff. The thing that he does that does not get measured on a day-to-day basis is he never fails big picture. He is never a failure over the course of 162 games like some of these other teams are. And so
I thought you made a good point on that on Twitter today when you basically said all of that. I am of the mindset that over the course of the regular season, the manager has a direct hand in wins or losses 5 to 8 times. Yeah. But with that said, in all of these years, Roberts has never had this kind of collapse, right? Like in 17, they lost the 15 of 16 or whatever it was, and that was an ugly stretch coming into the playoffs. But they went to the World Series and probably should have won it. Yeah. You know what I mean? If they don't get cheated out of it. So but like you said, there's no missing the playoffs. There's no not winning the division except for the 1 year. So I think, it's easy to take it for granted when it happens all the time. But man, try being a fan of some of these other teams. It's a lot tougher.
Yeah. Braves, another one that missed, and they obviously had some crazy injury stuff happen, but it's a team with high expectations that didn't, just miss out on a bye. They're just nowhere to be seen in the postseason. Couple rapid fire and we'll get out of here. Back to back. How much did these past 5 games increase your confidence in the bullpen, Anthony? Tiny bit?
Yeah. It's not nothing, but it's not like I'm fully back on.
It's probably more individual, right? Like we feel really good about Roki and we didn't. Right. We feel better about Treinen than we did. Like it's not big picture, it's little picture. Oh, I like Roki now, and Treinen's put together a couple outings.
Yeah. And I think we talked about it earlier, right? Like, who do you trust? Who do you not trust? Or who do you feel good about? And there's more guys to feel good about right now, I think, than not. And a big part of that is, I think, one, Roki has looked good. You put Sheehan in there.
Yeah.
And even for the wild card series, you put Glasnow in there. And if you're looking at those guys to get you 3 to 4 outs, I'm starting to feel a lot better about this bullpen than I was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Agreed. Ederico, how many games for the Red series, and what can you say about the Red surge? Not really looked at as an October team, but made it, and the Mets who got Soto and failed to make it. The Mets kind of backed themselves out of the postseason. I know the Reds won 7 of the last 10, but it was more a Mets collapse than the Reds sort of taking it. Like the Reds lost today. They needed to win today to clinch, and they lost. But give me a prediction for the series, Anthony. Is this a Dodgers in 2, Dodgers in 3? What do you got?
I think it's a 2-game series just because I think the pitching matchup for the Reds is just not favorable at all.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm hoping Dodgers in 2. So there we go.
And that's no disrespect to the Reds. Like it's a 3-game series. We're going to say it 100 times. The Reds are very capable of beating the Dodgers in a 3-game set. But I think you just look at like Snell and Yamamoto. Those are 2 of the best. Those are 2 of the best 5 pitchers in the National League right now, probably. And the Reds got to face them both on back-to-back nights.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 food questions. Jedi Engineer, do you get a street hot dog before or after the game?
That's an
Do they
after
sell them
game.
before? I never see them before the game. Are they out there?
I believe they are. Yeah. It's
That
definitely
smell
an
is
after the
so
game. I need a
captivating.
couple of pops
Yeah.
before, like though they taste better when you got a little something, when you got a little oil in you.
The smell of those things is
Yeah.
undeniable. So, last one. David says, I know I'm going to regret this later. I ordered a beef burrito supreme from Taco Bell at 11 o'clock at night. Do you guys agree? I don't know if he's saying, do you agree with ordering it? Do you agree that he's going to regret it? Because I think the answer to both of those questions is yes. I love that you're crushing a burrito, beef supreme burrito, and absolutely 4 a.m. is going to come calling for you. And, it might be worth it.
Uh, yeah. I mean, you got to find a better burrito at this time. But I also agree that you're going to regret it,
Hey,
no matter
Taco
where
Bell,
the
man.
burrito's from.
There's a time and a place for Taco Bell, and at 11 p.m. for our guy David. The lamplighter was closed, and so he was just crushing Taco Bell.
There
So
you
there you
go.
go. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us. As I mentioned, we will be back on Tuesday night. As soon as that one ends, 6:08 is the start time. So we will be on here right around 8:45, 9 o'clock as things go according to plan. Hopefully celebrating a Dodgers win. We'll be back on Wednesday night. We will be back on Thursday night as well. So tons of Dodgers content coming your way. And of course, right here on Dodger Blue 1958, make sure you subscribe, ring the notification bell. We're working on some more interviews. If you missed the Lance Brozdowski breakdown of Roki Sasaki and Emmett Sheehan, that was great from last week. Of course,
That was good.
Unplugged with Scott Gierman, weekdays at 10 a.m. live on here as well. So enjoy the rest of your night, everyone. As always, go Dodgers. And hopefully for a lot longer, we keep saying it, still freaking champs.